Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Katrina and this is Katrina Reads. So I'm back to finally finish the ABC tag that was originated by Jim at Jim's Reading Books and Stuff, and Rose over at Scallydanding About the Books tagged me in. I was so grateful and delighted by that. That was so nice to kind of wake up to that email. And so I'm just going to get right into it. First, K is for King. What is your favorite book about royalty, fictional or real? And that would be A Song of Ice and Fire. It's it's the story that Game of Thrones, the TV show, is based on. And I loved it. I'm not usually for historical fiction or fantasy or high fantasy, and that kind of blends all of that. It's historical fiction plus high fantasy. The first book is more historical fiction, just in a different world, and then by the time you get to the last book, it's full on high fantasy with the dragons and stuff. But that's my favorite book, K. L is for Librarian. Who is your favorite librarian? And that would be Ashley over at Bookish Realm. She's a librarian and a booktuber, and so I love her channel. M is for magazines. Do you have any magazine subscriptions or favorite magazine? Not anymore. I used to read magazines back, but now with Pinterest, we don't need magazines anymore, really. I keep thinking I'm gonna go back to read, country magazine, country home magazine, or something like that on Scribd, because you can get magazine subscriptions there. And I picked up a couple and put them in my Kindle. I get a couple of free ones because I'm a Prime member, and I never opened them up. I think that Instagram for like celebrity news and fashion, and Pinterest for recipes and design have taken those spaces up. N is for news. Where do you usually find your news? It kind of comes through Twitter. If something's going on, I follow enough writers and political people, and then CNN kind of will just push something. Like when you go to trending, you'll see something pushed. And then like the political news of the day comes through those guys. And if there's something I feel like I need to know more about, I will go and find the article that they push. Michael Harriot is my favorite author, Black online magazine, news magazines, but he does more in-depth stuff. Quick stuff comes through trending on Twitter. In-depth talks about that stuff is through mainly The Majority Report with Sam Cedar. They're a podcast, they're an online news show, daily streaming. Some of this stuff will be backed up by the TYT, the Young Turks, in the evening, but a lot of times I've gotten most of what I'm going to get from the Sam Cedar in the mid-morning. He also has interviews, really in-depth interviews with people dealing with multiple different things. So, and most of them has tangentially something to do with the day. He's had multiple different people coming in talking about COVID from every different angle that you could possibly think of. So immunologists, people who are talking about the historians who talked about how we've forgotten how we've dealt with pandemics in the past, epidemiologists, everything. And so I really love him for that. And I just like his personality and the people that kind of filter through his sphere of influence, and other progressives that come on his show, and other smaller podcasts and talk shows that have spun off from his show as well. P is for Penguin. Which is your favorite publisher? I've never thought about that. Is Hachette Audio, is that a publisher? I don't know, because that's the only name of someone I can think of that I hear all the time that's not an author, and that's just because they push a lot of the audiobooks that I listen to, and that's my favorite form of listening, of consuming books. Q is for queer. Who is your favorite LGBTQIA plus author? I don't know if I'm as well read in LGBTQIA stuff yet to say that I have a favorite author. However, I have a favorite non-binary author that is a booktuber that I'm getting close to here online, and I'll shout them out. AJ Dunn reads and writes, so I've gotten to know them here on BookTube, and they are a writer and they're non-binary, so I think that's cool. R is for Russia. Do you have a favorite novel, poem, or writer from Russian literature? Sadly, I am not well versed in Russian literature. I want to read Anna Karenina next month. S is for science fiction. What is your favorite science fiction novel? I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I thought it would be more fun to just kind of do this instead of writing it down and looking through everything like I normally do. But I like Peter Klein. His 14. He has it's a, I don't know. I don't think he would call it a trilogy, but it's 14 was the best one of the series. But some of the characters from 14 show up in Terminus, and there's another one. And then Blake Crouch has some good ones. Recursion and Dark Matter. I think those are considered science fiction. And let me see, who else? Those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head that are pretty good. Really, like 14 was very good, and I've read it more than once, and that's a sign for me that it's a really good book. T is for trope, tag, and many other things. You can create your own prompt for T. Somebody said, and I forgot, I kept meaning to go and investigate this on my own, but somebody on Book Talk said that there's only 36 stories, and we got them all from the Greeks. Now that part I do not agree with. I mean, there were people before the Greeks, but and so every story is just a retelling. And so obviously when our minds are blown by good stories, obviously someone is retelling it. Yeah, well, I mean, Ecclesiastes says that there's nothing new under the sun, right? So every trope can be done well, and we need to give authors that have not been given room, just underserved authors, the chance to have their spin on those tropes, and let's see what they can come up with. So that's my mini TED Talk on tropes. U is for unicorn. What is your favorite mythical animal? I don't know if I have a favorite mythical animal, although I love magical stories, but I've never been drawn to just dragons. V is for violet. What is your favorite violet book? And I don't have a violet book, I don't think, and I don't think I have a book with violet in the name. W is for why. If you have a BookTube channel, why did you start it? I do have a BookTube channel, and I started it to be part of a community that I really enjoy. I have to admit, I had to look up Xenocide. So X is for Xenocide. What novel featuring a Xenocide interested you, if any? None have ever interested me, and the only one I could think of that even exists that I know of, like when I looked up the definition, it just kept sending me to Orson Scott Card, Ender Games books. And so the only Xenocide I can think of is when stuff has been blown up on Star Wars, because those are alien people from me, alien from us. Y is for YouTube. Apart from booktubers, what YouTube channels do you like to watch? Maximum 3. I think I've already said. So so apart from booktubers, right? So the Majority Report, with Sam Cedar. He's a progressive news commentator. Grace Randolph behind the trailer. I watch her for just all kinds of movie stuff and TV stuff now that she used to only talk about movies, but now she has to talk about TV because streaming has become such a driving force, and especially a driving force in entertainment since the pandemic, and that's really kind of all we have. And she had to start kind of getting into it with the whole thing about peak TV. And then I actually watched a few other ones, but he said Max TV, so let me see. And I watch a couple of beauty, and I watch Adrian Expression. He is a pop culture commentator, and he's hilarious and crazy. I love him. He is a writer too. I've never read any of his books, but he's written like science fiction books, and he has done done music, but I know him through his pop culture commentary, and he's great. Adrian Expression. Z is for Zero. What is your favorite book about nothing? Interesting. I got it. Leave the World Behind by Rahman Alam. And this is a little bit of a cheat because lots happens in this book, but a lot of people complained that nothing happened in this book. And I just felt like you had to be paying attention to, I don't know what the word is, but like the subtext, or I think people expecting something else to be going on in this book because it was I believe it was mismarketed. And so there was tons happening in this book, but many people complained that nothing was happening. I do have a review on the channel about this book. If you made it this far in the video, please leave me a penguin. I think I'm trying a new angle. Please leave me a penguin as the end of this video's emoji. Thank you for supporting this channel by liking and subscribing and ringing the bell for notifications whenever I put up a video. Be easy on yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.